Come on, Chiefs Kingdom. After nearly making NFL history with a three-peat, the Chiefs are making big moves to prepare for another Super Bowl run. Chiefs general manager Brett Veach has his radar on when it comes to signing new players to the roster. Man, I keep thinking, if we're going to make it to the Super Bowl, we need some tough players. In the last few hours, we've had the shock of parting ways with one of the most reliable pieces of Kansas City's offensive line and acquiring a new star, and one new name has been mentioned a lot behind the scenes. The biggest shock so far? Trading offensive lineman Joe Thuney to the Chicago Bears. Yep, you heard that right. The three-time Pro Bowler and one of the most reliable pieces of Kansas City's offensive line is gone, leaving a huge hole to fill in front of Patrick Mahomes. I'll tell you everything we know. But before you continue, make sure you've already hit that like button. But only do that if you believe the Chiefs will make it to the Super Bowl. Say something like, I believe. Let's go, Chiefs! Now, the front office isn't wasting any time. According to reports, the Chiefs are looking for a serious replacement, and they have their sights set on none other than Baltimore Ravens star Ronnie Stanley. This could be a big acquisition, but let's break it down. Stanley, a former first-round pick, has been a mainstay on Baltimore's offensive line for nearly a decade. He's a two-time Pro Bowler, including last season when he helped Lamar Jackson and the Ravens dominate the AFC. He's still one of the best defensive tackles in the league when healthy, but that's been the big question, his durability. Injuries have been a major issue throughout his career, and at 30 years old, that's something KC will have to consider before making a move. But what if Stanley stays healthy? Pairing him with Jawan Taylor could create an elite tackling duo, giving Mahomes the protection he needs to keep this offense humming. With the AFC getting tougher, securing the offensive line is essential, and Stanley may be the best option available in free agency. So, what do you think? Should the Chiefs go all in on Ronnie Stanley, or is there a better play out there? All right, let's address the elephant in the room, the financial mess the Chiefs are in right now, and how Patrick Mahomes' massive contract could lead to severe penalties from the NFL if the team doesn't act quickly. We're talking potential fines, lost draft picks, and even the risk of contracts being voided if KC doesn't get things under control soon. So how did we get here? Well, the Chiefs franchise tagged Pro Bowl guard Trey Smith, who secured a contract worth around $23.4 million. The problem? That move pushed Kansas City over the NFL salary cap by a whopping $17 million. And with the league setting the cap at $279.2 million for 2025, the Chiefs have just over a week to figure out a solution before they get hit with some serious consequences. Now, let's talk about Mahomes. His 10-year, $450 million deal is the largest in NFL history, and while it seemed like a genius move when it was signed in 2020, it has already been restructured twice to free up cap space. Last year, the Chiefs reworked it to free up $21.6 million, but by 2025, its impact on the salary cap is expected to skyrocket to nearly $30 million. That's a huge number, and it's putting the Chiefs in a tough spot. So what are the options? The easiest path would be to restructure Mahomes' contract again, but that would come at a cost. While it would provide some short-term relief, it could seriously limit the team's ability to make moves in future seasons. Another option is to adjust the contracts of other key players, but that's easier said than done when you're already in cap trouble. Right now, Mahomes isn't going anywhere, and his contract is safe, for now. But the Chiefs are walking a fine line, and how they handle this situation could determine the team's ability to remain competitive in the years to come. If they can't find a way to make the numbers work, they risk not only penalties from the NFL, but also losing the flexibility to build a strong roster around their superstar quarterback. So what do you think? Should the Chiefs restructure Mahomes' contract again, or should they find another way to stay under the cap? Now, let's talk about the one thing the Chiefs can't ignore, fixing the offensive line. Kansas City made a splash when they decided to franchise tag offensive lineman Trey Smith, but the real shocker came when they traded Joe Thuney to the Chicago Bears. Thuney has been a key pillar of this offensive line, and moving him opens up a huge hole in the trenches. If the Chiefs want to protect Patrick Mahomes and keep this offense functioning at an elite level, they need to do it right. The Super Bowl loss to the Philadelphia Eagles exposed the weaknesses up front. For most of the season, the offensive line was strong, but when it mattered most, it collapsed. That's not something this front office is going to take lightly. With free agency and the NFL draft just around the corner, the Chiefs are already being linked to several offensive linemen who could help fill the void. One name making headlines? Oregon's Josh Connolly Jr. According to Pro Football Network's Sterling Sia, Connolly could be a perfect fit for Kansas City, and in his latest mock draft, he has the Chiefs selecting the athletic left tackle. Sia put it best, the saying goes, the Chiefs are still the Chiefs. Despite a revolving door at left tackle and Thuney's move to Chicago, General Manager Brett Veach knows work needs to be done to fix the offensive line. And he's not wrong. The Chiefs can't afford another season where Mahomes is under constant pressure, especially as the AFC gets stronger. So what makes Connolly such a good pick? Sia highlights his elite run-blocking skills and ability to move in the open field with ease. He has quick feet, solid leverage, and a strong anchor, which are all crucial traits to keeping Mahomes upright. Plus, his versatility makes him an intriguing option, whether at left tackle or another position on the line. He could be the missing piece the Chiefs need to get back on top. Of course, Connolly isn't the only option. Free agency could provide some veteran help, and there's still a chance the Chiefs could look at other offensive line prospects in the draft. But one thing is clear, after struggling against the Eagles in the Super Bowl, protecting Mahomes has to be the #1 priority this offseason. So what do you guys think? Should the Chiefs go all in on Josh Connolly Jr. in the draft, or should they target a veteran in free agency? We have a lot to talk about because Reid just admitted a huge mistake that cost the Chiefs a chance at a historic 3rd consecutive Super Bowl title. Let's break it down. For weeks, fans and analysts have been dissecting what went wrong in that Super Bowl loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. Well, now we have an answer straight from the head coach himself. In a candid interview with Mike Florio, Andy Reid admitted that the Chiefs' early approach played a big part in their downfall. Those first few plays, I think we had opportunities, and I probably could have put guys in a better position with a few things, Reid said. Against that team, once you get into a real passing situation, that 3rd or 4th series where you have to throw the ball a little bit more, they're very talented up front. That's who they are. Translation, the Chiefs didn't do enough to protect Patrick Mahomes early, and when they fell behind, things got out of hand. The offensive line completely collapsed, allowing 6 sacks, and Mahomes never got a chance to find a rhythm. In just under 3 quarters, Kansas City's dream of becoming the first team in NFL history to win 3 consecutive Super Bowls was over. So what was the real turning point? According to Reid, it wasn't just the offensive line, it was the Chiefs' failure to establish the run. The Eagles' pass rushers were dominant, and instead of countering with a balanced attack, Reid admitted he panicked and abandoned the run game too early. They're tremendous pass rushers. Against them, you have to have some balance. You have to be able to run the ball a little bit, Reid confessed. I probably could have kept it up longer in retrospect, but it got to the point where we had to throw it, and I think that plays right into their hands. Think about it for a second. The Chiefs had Isaiah Pacheco, one of the most physical running backs in the league, but they barely leaned on him when they needed him most. Instead, they put the game entirely on Mahomes' shoulders against one of the NFL's best defensive fronts, and we all saw how that turned out. This admission from Reid raises some big questions for the offseason. Will the Chiefs focus more on building a dominant offensive line? Will they prioritize a stronger running game to take pressure off Mahomes in big moments? And most importantly, will Reid learn from this mistake and adjust his strategy moving forward? One thing is for sure, Chiefs fans won't forget this Super Bowl loss anytime soon. But what do you think? Was abandoning the run the biggest mistake, or was it something else? Leave your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear your thoughts on what went wrong. And before you go, be sure to like this video and subscribe so you never miss a Chiefs update. We're just getting started this offseason, and you won't want to miss what's next.